From gardening to animals to extreme renovations, welcome to Homesteading at College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Today we're going to talk about why homesteaders and preppers need one another. Well, today I'd like to talk to you about why homesteaders and preppers need one another. And I'm not talking about preppers and homesteaders need each other. I'm talking about humans need other humans. The reason being is you never know what's going to happen. Herds have animals that are specific for specific duties. Now humans, like all other herds, are herd animals. All primates are pretty much herd animals. They don't survive without assistance from one another. So when we look at being a prepper, a lot of people have it in their mind that preppers are these people that never need anybody else's help. They're lone wolves. They hide in their little hidey hole with their guns and their food, and it doesn't work that way. While you might make it 6 months, a year, without other people, probably not going to make it much more than that. So, and I'm going to give you an example of that today. Since July the 21st, I think, was the last measurable rain that we've had here at College Hill Farm. So I think total since July 21st, according to my rain gauge, we've had like 1/8 of an inch of rain. Well, that's basically nothing. It's just enough to get the pavement a little damp, and then it evaporates away almost immediately. We're in the middle of a drought. The heat is unbelievable. Here it is, it's October the 3rd, and for the last 7 days, it's been over 90 degrees. Now, October, the average temperature should be in the low to mid 70s and in the 40s to the low 50s at night. It's not been being that way. We've had 90s and getting up at 70 degrees in the morning. So, this is extreme. And I'm going to show you what it does to a garden. Now, you know that I was sick and I lost most of my garden. Not all of it. We harvested potatoes and we harvested our early spring stuff, the cucumbers and things like that. But we lost our corn, we lost our beans, we lost our onions, we lost our garlic. Because I wound up in the hospital and couldn't do nothing about it. But that doesn't mean that me and Crystal are bad off. We were prepared. We've got all kinds of food in the freezer and in the pantry in the basement. So what I'd like to do today is go down in the garden and let you see what an extreme drought does to your garden. Now, if we didn't have other people and this extreme drought came around, where would you get your food? You know, to the south of me, they've had rain. To the north of me, they've had rain. But right here in this little band, right here in central Kentucky, we haven't had any. So the ground is unbelievably dry. We have big dews in the morning. This morning we've got a pretty good dew on. Not great huge, but a pretty good dew. So it's early. I think it's like 8 o'clock. So we're going to get down in the garden and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, here we are where I planted my onions. Now, I planted these onions early September. This is October the 3rd. There isn't an onion set up. Not one. We've had such a little bit of rain. July 21st was our last measurable rain. Again, we've had about 1/8 of rain since then. So they're not even up. So we haven't had any measurable precipitation since July the 21st, hardly. My little rain gauge, like I said, since then we've had about 1/8 of an inch of rain. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to show you, most of your plants in your garden live about in the top 8 to 10 inches of soil. Okay, they don't go much further than that. So I want to show you what the top 8 to 10 inches of soil looks like. Now, most of you that watch my channel know how dark and rich my soil looks. Well, this is what it is right now. It's just basically dust. I'm going to dig down in here. All the way down. There's no indication of any moisture anywhere. At this little hole I've dug, it's 6 to 8 inches, almost 10 down in the ground. If we look, there is no indication whatsoever of any moisture. Now that might be a little bit of moisture down there at 10 inches deep, but it's not enough to worry about. It's all the way down to the hardened soil. So there is no moisture in that dirt anywhere. That is what you can be up against as a homesteader and prepper. Now, the last garden we looked at had plenty of would hold water a lot better than this garden. This garden's on a hill, you know, and right here's what my sweet potatoes look like. They're in bad shape. You know, here's the hill, and there's the little sweet potato vines. They're not looking too good. I'm hoping in October we'll get a rain or two, and they'll set some tubers on. As it looks right now, I wouldn't bet that they're going to do that. Let's walk over here. See, this whole area should have been covered with sweet potato vines, and none of these weeds would have come up. But it didn't do that because the potatoes, here they are again, here's a few. The sweet potatoes are so stunted from the drought. You know, sweet potatoes like it wet and hot, but they just weren't able to cope with this. Now, they've set out runners and tried to get water wherever they could get it. I'm hoping that in October we'll have some rain and no frost until up into November, and maybe I'll have enough sweet potatoes to plant for next year. But that is the $100 question. Now, some things are doing okay. Here is a pepper. This is a jalapeno. There's another one. They're doing all right. The habaneros are doing okay. Okay, it's time for me to harvest them. The cayennes are doing all right. Or I'm sorry, those were all jalapenos. And here's cayennes. And here's the habaneros. Even the habaneros are having a hard time with this drought. And, you know, they're from the desert, you know, so, wow. And here is our sweet banana peppers, which they were drying up when they were green. So we really didn't get to harvest any of those either. It's just amazing. Now, I am going to be able to come back and get a few tomatoes. See, here's they didn't get stuck. You know, I got sick and I couldn't stick them. But we're going to have a few Romas here in this batch. Let's go on down through here. See, there's quite a few Romas, but they're not in great shape. Okay, here's our bell peppers. Again, they were drying up on the vine before they ever done anything. These are dry looking. See, they're all wilty and soft. Some of them, they're not, that one would have molded, but there ain't enough moisture for it to mold. They're just all dried up. Over here, I planted my fall garden. In it was turnips, mustard, kale, beets, radishes, and carrots. Well, you see what's up. There isn't a whole lot. Quite a few morning glories though. Kind of pretty. I see the bees getting their last taste of something. The turnips should already have, let's take a walk over and look. The turnips should already have turnips on them. Well, if you look right here at these turnips, there ain't no sign of a turnip forming there. So that's because it's just too dry. I see some of the kale coming up, and I see some mustard. But I don't see any beets nor any radishes. And no carrots. So that's where we are. What do I mean when I say preppers and homesteaders need each other? 50 miles south of me, there isn't this extreme drought. 50 miles north of me, there isn't this extreme drought. This is a swath about 100 miles wide, not really even 100 miles wide, but it's a good little swath right through the heart of central Kentucky. And if I was dependent on my garden to survive this year, that might not be good. But luckily, I have friends that have gardens. There's also farmers markets 50 miles south from here that have sold quite a bit and been brought up by truck and all kinds of things. In a situation, if you've got a year's worth of food stored up, then you can wait for a year and maybe outlast a drought. Now, in sub-Saharan Africa, some of those droughts have been going on for 40 years. And those folks, they just don't have a chance. So, preppers and homesteaders can't do it alone. You're going to need people after some big event, whether it's a hurricane or a flood or anything like that. You're going to need other people. Don't think that you can hide in your little hidey hole and be perfectly fine. It doesn't work that way. You're going to need other folks. So that's kind of an update on the homestead and how the drought's going. It looks like I'm going to get to harvest a few tomatoes, but if you looked at them, they were just teeny tiny. They're not much bigger than a Tommy toe. But anyway, they're better than nothing. So if you like this kind of stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of lifestyle, be sure to come on out to the channel and subscribe. If you can hit that little subscribe button, and it will take you to our homepage, and then you can subscribe. If you hit the bell, it'll tell you when we upload a video. We try and upload something every week. It just depends on what's going on the farm. Sometimes 1, sometimes 5. It just depends on what's going on. So now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.